MSC Cruises operate a Northern Europe itinerary, visiting Hamburg, Rotterdam, Zeebrugge for Bruges, and Le Havre for Paris and Normandy. I sailed this route recently on MSC Poesia, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through what each of these ports is actually like. Once you step off the ship, what the cruise terminals look like, how transport works in real life, and what you can realistically see during a cruise stop. The itinerary itself usually follows a simple pattern, although the exact order can vary slightly depending on where you board the ship. If you start the cruise in Southampton, you'll normally leave the UK and spend a sea day crossing the North Sea before arriving in Hamburg. After Hamburg, there's usually another sea day. Then the final part of the cruise becomes a run of 3 ports back-to-back: Rotterdam, Zeebrugge, and Le Havre, before returning to Southampton. However, because MSC allows passengers to embark in several different ports, the sea days can fall in slightly different places, depending on where your cruise begins. So the overall itinerary stays the same, but the position of the sea days can shift slightly depending on where you start your cruise. Another detail I noticed on this sailing was the length of the port days. Many cruise lines leave ports around 5 in the afternoon, but MSC scheduled much later departures in several places. Hamburg, Rotterdam, and Le Havre all had departures around 8 or 9 in the evening, which gives you far more time ashore than you might expect. The only port with a shorter stop was Zeebrugge. One final thing to keep in mind if you're considering this cruise is the weather. Many of these sailings run through winter, and when I visited Hamburg, temperatures were around -2 degrees with snow falling. Northern Europe in winter can be beautiful, but it is cold, so warm layers, gloves, and a proper coat are essential. When MSC ships dock in Hamburg today, they usually berth at Cruise Center, Hafen City, which sits right in the modern Hafen City district, close to the center of the city. After leaving the ship, you walk through the cruise terminal building and directly into the Westfield Uberseequartier complex. This is a modern shopping and restaurant area that effectively connects the cruise terminal straight into the city itself. That location is what makes Hamburg such an easy port to explore independently. You're not arriving in an industrial dock miles outside town. Instead, you're already within walking distance of several major attractions. One of the most recognizable landmarks nearby is the Elbphilharmonie Concert Hall. Even if you're not attending a performance, you can ride the long curved escalator inside the building and visit the public viewing terrace at the top, which offers wide views across the harbour and city skyline. Just beside it, you'll find the Speicherstadt district, a UNESCO World Heritage Site made up of historic red brick warehouses linked by canals and bridges. It's one of the most photogenic areas of the city and very easy to explore simply by walking. Not far from here, you can also visit the old Elbe Tunnel, which opened in 1911 and runs underneath the river. You enter through a historic lift system and then walk through the tiled tunnel beneath the harbour. It's still used today by pedestrians and cyclists, and it's a fascinating piece of Hamburg's maritime history and completely free to visit. If you continue further into the city centre, you'll eventually reach the Rathaus, Hamburg's impressive city hall. The large square in front of the building and the nearby Inner Alster Lake are pleasant places to walk around, with cafes and historic buildings surrounding the waterfront. Hamburg also has an excellent public transport network if you want to travel further. The Uberseequartier U-Bahn station is located beside the terminal area, and the city's harbour ferries are part of the normal public transport system, meaning you can ride them using a standard transport ticket or the Hamburg card. One particularly nice short route is the ferry between Landungsbrücken and the Elbphilharmonie. It gives you great views of the harbour and often a very good view back towards your cruise ship, making it an easy way to experience the waterfront without booking a separate harbour tour. Hamburg is a port where exploring independently works very well. Most of the city's main sites are either within walking distance of the harbour area or easy to reach using the underground or harbour ferries. With a little planning, it's perfectly realistic to see several of Hamburg's highlights during a single cruise port day without needing to book a shore excursion. After Hamburg and another sea day, the itinerary reaches Rotterdam. Cruise ships dock at Rotterdam Cruise Terminal, which sits directly on the river in the heart of the city. The terminal itself occupies a historic departure hall once used by Holland America Line. Today it has been restored as a modern cruise facility surrounded by restaurants, hotels, and office buildings. When you step outside the terminal, you're already beside the Erasmus Bridge, one of Rotterdam's most recognizable landmarks. Crossing the bridge takes around 10 minutes and brings you directly into the main city center. The biggest decision most cruise passengers face here is whether to explore Rotterdam itself or travel somewhere else. Amsterdam is only about an hour away by train, which is why many cruise visitors choose to head there for the day. The usual route involves taking the metro from Wilhelminaplein station near the cruise terminal to Rotterdam Central Station, then catching a train to Amsterdam Central. If you do decide to visit Amsterdam, it's best to keep your plans simple. With only a few hours available, focusing on one area of the city works well. Many visitors walk from the central station towards Dam Square and the surrounding canal district, or take a canal cruise to see the historic waterways from the water. If visiting the Anne Frank house is important to you, tickets usually sell out weeks in advance, so it's worth booking them before your cruise. If you decide to stay in Rotterdam instead, there are several interesting places within easy reach. The cube houses near Black Station are one of the city's most unusual sights, and nearby you'll find the Old Harbour and the Markthal Food Market, where dozens of food stalls sit beneath a huge, colourful ceiling mural. Rotterdam is also very well connected by train, which makes it easy to visit other Dutch cities during your port stop. From Rotterdam Central Station, you can reach Delft in about 15 minutes, a smaller historic town famous for its blue and white Delft pottery. Another nearby option is The Hague, around 25 minutes by train. This is where the Dutch Parliament is located, and it's also home to the Peace Palace and the Mauritshuis Museum. The next stop on the itinerary is Zeebrugge, which works quite differently from Hamburg or Rotterdam. Zeebrugge is a large working commercial port, part of the Port of Antwerp, Bruges, and cruise ships normally dock at the Swedish quay near the ABC Tower cruise terminal. Because it's an industrial harbour, you can't simply walk out of the port area. Security rules mean passengers need transport to leave the dock. If you've booked a ship excursion, the coaches normally collect passengers directly beside the ship. If you're exploring independently, the first step is usually taking the free port shuttle that moves passengers from the ship to the cruise terminal area. From there, you can choose how to continue your journey. You're not really visiting Zeebrugge itself. The main destination is Bruges. There are 3 common ways cruise passengers reach the city. The easiest option is the Cruise Express shuttle bus, which runs roughly every 30 minutes from near the terminal and takes around half an hour to reach Bruges. Another option is traveling by train via the nearby seaside town of Blankenberg. Cruise lines often run shuttle buses there, and from Blankenberg station, it's about a 10-minute train ride to Bruges. This is usually the cheapest option, although trains normally run only once an hour. Taxis are also available and can make sense if you're traveling as a group. Once you reach Bruges, the historic centre is compact and very easy to explore on foot. Most visitors naturally begin around Markt Square, where the Belfry Tower rises above colourful medieval buildings and cafes. From there, it's easy to wander through the narrow cobbled streets and along the canals that make the city famous. Canal boat tours are a popular way to see Bruges from the water, but simply walking through the streets, stopping for waffles, Belgian chocolate, or a local beer can easily fill a relaxed cruise day. The final port before returning to Southampton is Le Havre, located on the Normandy coast at the mouth of the River Seine. Cruise ships dock inside the commercial harbour, and the cruise terminal sits within the port area rather than directly in the city centre. The walk into the centre of Le Havre takes around 20 to 30 minutes, although many passengers choose to take the cruise shuttle bus instead. Le Havre is often advertised on cruise itineraries as Le Havre Paris. But the key thing to understand is that Paris is almost 3 hours away by road. Most excursions to Paris leave early in the morning and involve about 3 hours travelling each way, meaning roughly 6 hours of the day is spent on a coach. Once in Paris, you'll usually have around 3 to 4 hours to explore before returning to the ship. For many people, that's still worth doing if visiting Paris is high on their list, but it's important to go into the day knowing it will involve a lot of travel. If you'd prefer a shorter journey, there are several other places in Normandy that work well instead. Honfleur is one of the most popular options, a picturesque harbour town about 30 to 40 minutes away, with colourful waterfront buildings, small galleries and cafes lining the harbour. You'll also see excursions to the Normandy D-Day beaches or the dramatic white cliffs at Etretat. Le Havre itself is also worth exploring if you prefer a more relaxed day. The city centre was rebuilt after the Second World War by architect Auguste Perret and is now listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its wide boulevards, modern architecture, and landmarks such as St. Joseph's Church and the Le Vulcan Theatre give the city a very distinctive character. One of the nice things about this Northern Europe itinerary is that most of the ports are actually very easy to explore independently. If you're planning a Northern Europe cruise and want detailed guides for each port, you can watch my full Northern Europe cruise ports playlist on screen now.